Hi, and welcome to the FlatBackFour Podcast with me, Andy McGuire, and Scott Eaglen. And well, this week we're talking all about the Championship because it's getting into the last leg now, isn't it, mate? So we thought that we'd cover the Championship. Obviously, as well, we are Leeds fans.
Yeah, and we're nearly there, mate. We're nearly there after 16 years.
I know it is crazy to even think that, and this is not just two Leeds fans because we support Leeds. Leeds are top of the table, and obviously we're very much on the brink. But you do feel like there's probably going to be a couple of more twists and turns in it, just because it is Leeds, and also the fact that there's a few teams doing a late flourish. Although as we do this podcast, Charlton seem to be beating Brentford. Now there's still a good half an hour of that game left. If we can keep us up to date, Scott, I'll let you let us know if there's any updates on that game as we go in. But Brentford have been flying, haven't they? We'll just touch on the run that Brentford have been on over the last few weeks, especially since lockdown or the Project Restart, I should say.
Yeah, they've been on an unbelievable run, haven't they, since Project Restart. I don't think it should come as a surprise though that Brentford have been on this sort of run. I think they've threatened the top six all season. Probably again we touched on like the pressure of having the fans in the stadium. It's probably been a bit of an advantage to them, because I think their last few games leading up to the end of the season, they were probably going to be quite emotional leaving Griffin Park. They probably let off the shackles a little bit of that sort of emotional attachment to Griffin Park, and they've just got on with the business on it. You're a big fan of their football, aren't you, Brentford? They play some great football.
I think that it's the midfield. I mean, they obviously got Pontus at the back as well, and they look nice and solid. But yeah, for me, there's just a lot of fluidity in that midfield. And every time I've watched them, I just look at them and I really like the way they zip the ball around and they constantly create chances. They've flirted with the Premier League as well. Let's not forget, they're not just a team that have come from nowhere. They have flirted and they've just maybe never had that final thing just to get over the line. But half of me thinks, is it written for them in the stars that they're going to be leaving obviously this year? And I think maybe I think Leeds and I think West Brom may just hold out, but I think until it is set in stone, they are really going to push. And obviously big result tonight pending as well. But no, I really like their philosophy. I like the midfield. I think they're strong. And like we say, because it is the last season, I just think, is it just going to be written for them? But, fingers crossed. And I tell you what, if the playoffs, no one will want Brentford. No. Absolutely no one.
No. Nobody will want Brentford. And Derby are just creeping into it, I think, to playoffs. 3 points behind Cardiff.
You've called Derby. You always say about a tweet that you said when they got Rooney. And all right, they had a bit of a setback the other week, didn't they? Oh, God, the games are coming that thick and fast. I don't know whether it's last week or only 72 hours ago. But they're on the edge.
Yeah,
they're close.
They've always had quite a decent squad of Derby, but me and you are huge fans of Rooney, aren't we? We think he's massively underrated. But I'd Rooney into any team into the Championship, and he, I think he flourishes in any team. And Derby was 16th, 17th when he first came on board, and he's took them up to 3 points.
And they've had the troubles, haven't they? Obviously, off the pitch, they've had the troubles. So, to actually come back from where they were, and it could have all. Let's be honest, it could have been messed up the whole season. Because it was so early on as well. But fair play to Derby and Mel, the chairman. He's a consistent chairman. I'll give him that. And they've kind of dealt with it. They've got Rooney in, and they've restarted again, haven't they?
Yeah. He's made some shrewd signings, hasn't he? But there's players there that have been there for quite some time. You were touching on then about the mishaps early on this season. It's that siege mentality, isn't it? When the sort of world's against you, clubs seem to flourish. And actually, early on in the season, after that had happened, they were on a bit of a downer, weren't they? But I think Rooney's just come in and sort of settled it, and he just come in, added a touch of class on and off the field.
That's the thing as well. I mean, we obviously not seen the effect that Rooney's probably having off. Obviously on he's playing well, but imagine walking into a changing room, and it's very hard for us because we're Leeds fans. But he is such a legend, and he played for Man United for so many years. But one thing that you can't deny about Rooney is what he's won, the goals he's scored, his England caps, and if he walks into a changing room and you look and you think, got Wayne Rooney playing with me here, it raises everyone's game. But it's a bit like Leeds and Pablo Hernandez, and you know, he raises games when, you know, he raises the team when he's on the pitch and he does something and people go, what a player. Yeah. But imagine what it must be like in that derby team.
It sort of puts everything on a back burner, doesn't it? Anything that's gone on in the season so far, you know, you have somebody like Wayne Rooney coming into changing rooms. Is he going to be bothered about what's gone on before over the last 6-12 months? Of course he's not. He's come to play football, he's come to get promoted. And they're well on the way out to at least getting into playoffs.
I'm going to ask you a question in the playoff race. If they snuck in, obviously Cardiff are having a good. I mean, we all know what they did to us on that first game back and whatnot. And they seem to be really having a bit like Brentford. They've come back, all guns blazing. If you're in that playoff mix, there's probably 2-3 teams in that race where you think, I don't want to play them. I don't want to play them either. Like there's and they're all a little bit different, aren't they? You got Brentford with the stadium leaving and whatnot, and Derby just because it's Derby. Cardiff are flying. They always have a canny knackered. Sometimes not always having the best team, but getting promoted.
Yeah, that four in the playoffs, though, mate. Don't you think that every season it seems to be, you know, third and fourth is usually the teams that nearly got promoted, or like 2 or 3 points behind second, and then fifth or sixth are the ones that have probably just creeped into playoffs. Forest are doing, like Derby are doing, and it's usually, well, 6 or 7 times out of 10 it's usually the form team, you know, the team that were probably 12th, 13th in December that have probably just creeped up. But in terms of out of the four, who would probably be my call, I think if Derby creep in, you know, going on last season's disappointment, that could stand him in good stead in playoffs this year. Fulham have had experience of the playoffs. Brentford, you know, I don't think they've been in a championship playoffs before Brentford, but they've always been in and around that area, haven't they? So, it'd be interesting.
They're my dark horse. I think Brentford, just with the only I know they've not got the experience, just because I like the football and I just think it's that flurry, and but the only thing I don't know if you agree, but momentum, like you say, sometimes a team that's 12 and 13th around Christmas and they're flirting and then they lose a couple, but then if you can win them if you can hit them last 4 games leading into the playoffs and you've won 3 and drawn 1 and they're the team and people look over the shoulder and go, hang on, Derby, I lost in 5 here. All of a sudden that mentality, because it's such a big occasion to get to Wembley and you think there's that 120 odd million or whatever, 5 million if you get promoted this year because of all the money they're probably going to give up. But, you know, it does make me think, you know, whether if Derby and, like you say, Notts Forest sneak in, could be interesting.
Yeah, it could be really interesting. Fulham have just beaten Forest this afternoon. They beat 1-0. Your boy Harry Arter, I know you're a big fan of Arter. But yeah, I
like Arter. Good solid footballer.
Yeah, good player. It's a big win for Fulham, so they're just chasing up on West Brom's tail. But yeah, like you say, it's, you know, there's teams that sort of flirt around the mid-table. They sort of go under the radar, don't they, mid-season. And it's that last season push. You know, if you in Championship, if you get 3 or 4 wins in a row, that becomes 4, that becomes 5, and then you've got 15 points. And those points, especially between like January and March time, they're huge. Once you get a run going there, you know, you can push the playoffs.
Do you think, Scott, it makes a difference whether you've had a good, you know, say like Derby obviously beat Leeds last year, but then this year they're not in the playoffs as yet. So every year it seems to chop and change, but do you really think it matters if you get to the semi-finals and nearly get there, and then the year after, do you think that experience counts? Or do you think because the Championship's so unpredictable, you know, I know it sounds crazy, but say if Luton stayed up and then all of a sudden they push next year, you go, you're sort of not surprised in the Championship if Luton then we're pushing for 6. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're never surprised in the Championship, aren't you? Anybody can beat anybody. I think playoffs though.
So do you think there's no exact advantage?
No, I don't think so. I think the playoffs can go anyway, can't they? I think, you know, you see some teams that have maybe fallen at the last hurdle and then next season gone on, and I think it was Villa, wasn't it? I think Villa didn't get beaten playoff final by Fulham, but then won it the next year.
Fulham.
Yeah. But then you see other teams who have been in playoffs, go back in playoffs, lose again, go back in playoffs, lose again, and it's that mentality in it of Derby. we touched on Derby. Derby have lost in the playoffs so many times. But it's that mentality. But I think, again, we're touching on Derby. I think if you've got Rooney in the playoffs, he's exactly the man that you want to just push on. It's that bit of experience, and maybe
because he's a winner. He's a winner.
Yeah, exactly.
He's been there. I know he's been there at the highest level. So going into a final and walking out Wembley, I mean, how many times has Rooney walked out Wembley? I know there's no fans there, but imagine him talking in the changing room and saying,
he'll chill you out, won't he? He's done it a million times.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me either with like a Derby Brentford or it wouldn't shock me, but I just tip Brentford. Just me. That means that they're obviously going to lose the first leg in the playoffs, or maybe sneak second now. But they've got a math losing run. But so listen, we are going to talk about Leeds, obviously, because we are top of the table now. It's funny with Leeds because we of course when restart started, I mean, I'm looking at our results and fixtures coming up. We obviously had the bad start against Cardiff, but then obviously we had the Fulham, then the Luton draw, and then Blackburn. It probably wasn't the start that we wanted, but then if we'd have taken the results that we've seen now, would you have been happy?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I don't think you can complain. I think it was a slow start against Cardiff, wasn't it? I think it took us all by surprise.
Yeah.
Because, Bielsa's team's quite well known for a bit of burnout, but you would have thought that this break that they've had would benefit them, to recharge their batteries for whatever it's been, 2 or 3 months. And then to come down and get their heads down. Didn't really work out against Cardiff. Bit of a dodgy performance against Luton. But the other 2 games I think have been great, and I can't really complain. But we're going up that way. Leeds are going up.
I think I would have been worried. Say if we'd have lost or drawn that Fulham game, I'd maybe have been a bit more. But we swept Fulham aside.
Yeah, they had all the possession, didn't they? We just counter-attacked 2 or 3 goals. Boom, done.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Which was weird because obviously we played quite well against Cardiff and got done. Because I thought Cardiff, I thought they were poor really, but fair play to Cardiff. They smashed and grabbed, they waited, they were patient. Leeds were poured in front of goal, Cardiff finishes. But the Fulham game, I thought there was, and I'm going to praise Bielsa, I thought there was just that little bit more patience. And all right, you know what? We know we've got the players, so let's suck it up a little bit and then let's get it. And I thought in periods there were 2-3 minutes of time where we had the ball and just Fulham looked ragged. They didn't know what to do with us, which were quite nice to see. But that was a big win for me. The Luton one, I wish we'd have got that 2-1 win. I wish we'd have got over the line just to make that gap a little bit more clear. I don't like relying on other teams beating.
I hate relying on results. Yeah.
You do see a lot on Twitter saying, heads up because they might lose it. I don't want to. I just want to let's win our games. And I think Luton was a winnable game, and I was disappointed we didn't win that. But then obviously we've got to talk about the Blackburn game. I mean, Phillips did come up with a great free kick. I mean, and he played well as well, and he played well and praise where it's due. I'm not saying I'm not his biggest fan. We're both. I want to see him in the Premier League, like every Leeds fan does. I want to see him in the Premier League with us. I don't want him to move. But I think he has had a slow start since Project Restart.
Yeah,
I do think that he has had a couple of big performances the last couple of games.
Yeah, I don't think, and Phillips will probably agree, I don't think he's probably had his best season. I don't think he's controlled the games like he did last season. His goal return is never great anyway because he's a City midfielder, but I don't think we've probably seen the best of Calvin Phillips this year. It won't be in my team of the year anyway, but the free kick that he took against Blackburn was, I mean, a peach, wasn't it? That free kick.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Yeah, brilliant. But it was a good performance by all these. It was good to see Barry Douglas back as well. I'm a big fan of Barry Douglas.
You're a big fan. Yeah.
That left peg.
On his day, best left back.
Probably in the Championship, yeah. I don't think there's any better.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I mean, I think back to his Wolves days. I know he's had his injuries since, the last 6 to 12 months, but you can't replace that quality, mate. And Leeds don't have that. Leeds don't have anybody who can hit a delivery like that. As good as Calvin Phillips' free kick was the other day, his set pieces have been awful, haven't they? Since since.
Yeah, they have been bad. They have been bad, and there were a stat I saw on Twitter, and it was something like his conversion rate beating the first man on a corner was something like 14%. It was ridiculous. I was like, well,
yeah.
I was.
Yeah.
I didn't like that.
No, yeah, but we persisted with him, though, didn't we?
Especially. Yeah, I mean, I think though, we all know that set pieces, if you do work on them, Stoke made a name for themselves with the set pieces and that. They are such a vital part. And I think when you are trying to sometimes, if the passing isn't going right and that fluidity is wrong, if you can nail your set pieces, there can be a game changer. Yeah. And you see a lot of teams, especially at the very top level, maybe it's not much in Europe, maybe Serie A, but I do think of the Championship, set pieces are very, very on point. And I actually think Leeds are not amazing from set pieces, I've got to say. It does not concern me, but I just wish we were a bit better with them.
Yeah. Whilst we've got the opportunity to do it on this podcast, and we spoke about Leeds, what is your honest opinion on Bielsa?
I think Bielsa is an unbelievable coach. I think he is. I can't question his coaching methods. I don't know if that's. Obviously, he has this unbelievable aura about him, and people want to play for him. And he has a set way, and he's obviously a very old school guy. Now, I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. I think that's brilliant. The changes, the substitutions, the persisting with sometimes average players and not mixing it up quick enough was my issue. And game after game after game, I just wish it would be a little bit more kind of loose in a way. I making changes at the right time, and if Bamford hadn't scored in 5, just mix it up a little bit. And to be fair to him, I think he's actually made some good subs the last couple of games.
Yeah.
But if we didn't go up this year, it's a failure. He's
100%.
Been a failure,
100%,
and that's it. And that's just it. And until we're over that line, I can't praise Bielsa. I think he's got a bunch of average players, because there were before he came in, and I do think he took them to a level. But I think he almost forgot that he was in the Championship. I think he burned us out. I think that he didn't get enough out of the players because the players weren't good enough for a start off. But yeah, as a coach, I think he's a great coach. Do I hold him as God as every Leeds fan seems to do? No, because he hasn't got us promoted yet. But get us promoted, and if he stays, let's judge him in that top league where all his peers are that love him.
Yeah.
Mikel Arteta, Pep Guardiola, even Jurgen Klopp I've heard talk good things about Bielsa. So, let's see what he's like there, and let's see who he brings in. That's what I'm interested in seeing, who he brings in. So you give me your assessment.
Pretty much mirrors what you said, mate, to be honest. I don't buy into this, he's one of the greatest coaches on earth. If he was one of the greatest coaches on earth, he certainly wouldn't be managing Leeds United. And he certainly wouldn't be managing the Championship. I get that he's probably influenced a lot of managers into their ways of thinking and their ways of coaching. But think about it like this. Bielsa I think he's like the 7th or 8th best paid coach in the country. If I'm paying my manager, I think he's on like 6 million a year or whatever he's on. Promotion is the bare minimum what I would expect from my manager, and I know that's probably a bit harsh, but that's the bare minimum that I'd expect from my manager. Whether it's for Leeds, he could be managing Barnsley. If I'm paying him 6 million a year, you're getting me promoted.
Wasn't that what Fabio Capello was on a year as England manager?
Something like that. Yeah. He's
that. I mean, like you said, that shows you the salary.
Yeah, and I don't doubt what Bielsa's done this year is great, but let's not hide behind the fact that this is the most average Championship, probably the worst Championship that I've seen in maybe 10, 15 years. I can't tell you some real standout players other than a couple who play for Brentford. 1 or 2 in our team. No real standout players for West Brom. Across the Championship, no real players stand out. You see every season players that are above and beyond everything else in the Championship. But I can't really see anything this year, and it just shows how poor this league has been. That one man, Wayne Rooney, can completely change a team like Derby County. Going on to Bielsa's coaching style, let's not beat around the bush. He's won nothing in Europe, nothing in his career in the last 20 years. He did very well with Bilbao, did nothing with Lazio, did nothing with Lille, fell out with coaches, fell out with chairman. His decisions in terms of his substitutions are frustrating at best. He does substitutions at the wrong time. He persists with inconsistent players. But you know, if he gets us promoted, he'll get all the plaudits he deserves. But you know, everybody knows that I'm probably not the most normal of Leeds fans. But that's just because I expect the best. And if we're paying the best,
was it a failure last year, Scott?
100%,
Was it a failure last year that he didn't get?
Yeah, of course it was.
I think, and everyone goes, "Oh, but look at the players he had." But well, then all right, then why didn't he also then go and buy the players, you know, that we needed and stuff like that? All right, I get that you can coach players better, 100%. But look what Guardiola did. He brought in a keeper. It didn't work out. Boom, he went and got Edison. I'm not saying we don't have that kind of money. I'm not understanding that. But what I'm saying is, it was like seeing the problem and doing it. This year, when we started again, and we didn't see too much change, and then obviously we got the striker, Augustin.
Yeah.
And he just seemed to just kind of stew and sit there, and now he's gone, and I think, well, I didn't see him. I kind of think he wasn't given the chance because he perceived. Look, it's hard really with Bamford because I do understand he works extremely hard, but there's a reason by 25 years old he's had 75 clubs. You know, I think I do love his work rate. I do, and I think he must be so frustrated. But when you are at this level, like Dwight Gale showed, he might not be the most Premier League player, but in that Championship, 25 goals flew in. You know, I'm talking loosely, but they had a good team when they went down Newcastle, and obviously they came straight back up. But for me, you've got to have a striker that scores goals in that league. And I think that's where you're bang on with the league not being as consistent. I think Leeds have been, at times, extremely lucky that this league hasn't produced 3 or 4 teams where they've had great goal scorers, because I think Leeds have been in the playoffs. I think it's been our resoluteness and bits of class from Hernandez now and again and whatnot. But we have to address that next year. We have to score goals in the Premier League. If touch wood, I'm touching wood, we get there, you know?
I agree, mate. And I think, in fairness to Bielsa, you know, I've criticised him enough now. I don't think he's helped by Radrizzani for one, and the director of football, Victor Orta, whose transfer policy over the last 3 or 4 years has been absolutely atrocious. Some of the players that we've bought, and I sent a list to this bloke on Twitter yesterday. I think out of God knows that 30 or 40 players that we've bought or paid money for, I think there were only about 4 or 5 that have been, you know, a success. Millions and millions of money wasted. I think we've paid 10 million for Bamford. 10 million for Bamford.
I know.
And you know, that's 10 million quid. That's our biggest signing since the Champions League days. You know, you think about that. So let's not beat around the bush as well. We've spent money to get here. You know, this isn't the days of Gary Monk, of Thomas, of Christensen, of you know, even of managers before that. Bielsa spent money. You know. So yeah, like I say, it's the absolute minimum I'd expect. But if we do go up, we will absolutely need to invest, because you know, you think about the players that we've got. Ben White won't be there, who is an unbelievable player. As goalkeeper,
I tell you what, looking at Liverpool the other day, they'd be looking at getting rid of Gomez and getting White in, because I tell you, I know he's heavily linked with Liverpool, and he's different. He's different class. Ben White. It's just every time you see him, he's that European player, defender, isn't he? He's a leader. He's brilliant.
Reminds me of John Stones, you know, in his early Everton days, early Man City days.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? He's a footballing centre back.
And do you know what I liked? I tell you what I really liked about Ben White, when Mitrovic did that to him. Did you see how cool it was?
Just like
he didn't react, you look at a player like that and you go, that's real class, that, because he didn't get in his fit. He knew that he'd been fouled, and what did he do for the rest of the game? He was fantastic. He just let his football do the talking. He's a different out. Just tell me then, players that we need then. If we go up, we're very close on the edge. Say Leeds are promoted. three areas that we need.
The first one is goalkeeper. We don't have a solid goalkeeper. Casilla, again, I'm touching on spending money, although we didn't pay an amount for Casilla. What is he, 35, 40 grand a week for Casilla? And he's the most erratic goalkeeper that I think I've seen at least in a few years. So a goalkeeper for one, unless we get that Meslier on a permanent. We're obviously going to have to get.
Who I like, by the way. I like him.
He's good.
I like
good distribution.
I like Meslier.
But he's young, though, isn't he? He's young.
Yep.
We'll need a centre back, obviously, to replace White. I still think we're probably short in midfield. And again, a couple of players that'll play across that front three. Another top striker, who, by the way, we had a top striker in Nketiah, but didn't get a game. And when he did play, scored. And maybe a winger or two. And you were a big fan of Nketiah, weren't you?
Yeah, and this is what I was about to say, right? So Nketiah the other week when he came on for Arsenal, was it in the Norwich where he closed down and pressed from the front? Now Bielsa, that's what Bielsa's all about. Now, like you said, Nketiah played, he scored, or he always caused some sort of, melee, and usually he came on like 70th minute, which I can't stand. For me, it's a 60-minute. Give a player half an hour at least, and sometimes he'll come in on 82nd minute, and I think Nketiah knew he wasn't getting a fair shout and whatnot. A couple of Ian Wright's tweets were definitely not suspect. Yeah, you just knew it was aimed at Leeds, and rightly so. But Nketiah the other week came on and he's getting in that Arsenal team and he's scoring and he's creating chances and he's playing with Aubameyang, but yet he wasn't good enough to get a Bamford who wasn't scoring in 5 and in 6.
That's what we were saying though, weren't we?
And it baffled me. That's it.
That's what we're saying though, he persists with these really inconsistent players. Bamford could not score in 10 games, but he'll persist with him.
Do you keep Bamford?
Probably, but it wouldn't be my main striker by any means, by any stretch. I think he's definitely got the potential to make the step up. He scored goals. Let's not beat around the bush. He's scored goals, just probably not on a consistent basis. And to be fair, I've touched on this before. He's probably not been pushed to score goals because there's never been anybody behind him.
Yeah.
If you're a striker and if you're playing
and he's never worried about his place. He's never worried. He even had Nketiah there and Augustin, and he was like, I'm going to start next game.
You're playing football for any team, and your place isn't under threat. What's your motivation? Who's going to jump in if you know what I mean? If you haven't scored in 3 or 4, if the manager comes to you and says, you haven't scored in 3 or 4, what's going on? Well, go on and change me. And there's nobody to change it. There's nobody to put in his place. We had Nketiah who scored goals, but same again. I
want to talk about wingers because obviously we've been given Helder Costa's evil twin brother.
Yeah,
because that's not the Costa that I thought we were going to get. I mean,
he's just signed
he shows moments.
He's just signed permanently today, Costa.
I know, but what I'm saying, as a player, I was like, "Whoa, we've got a player here. We've got that. He'll twist, he'll turn, and I'm looking and I'm thinking, who is this? Harrison. I think he has some. Sometimes he's unplayable. Harrison sometimes unplayable, and you go, wow, and he'll just have a couple of games, and you think, are you going to be able to step up? But I have a lot of faith in Harrison. I think that. If Leeds play right with him and he's confident, I think he's an arm round. I think you're going to have a good game today.
Yeah, he's very much a confidence player, isn't he? And he's played with some unbelievable players, hasn't he? When he was at New York, and he played with Pirlo, David Villa, Frank Lampard, played with some unbelievable players, and again at Man City. So there's definitely talent there. It's just an end product with Jack Harrison. And, he can't really beat him, man. He ain't got a trick in him. He'll get one-on-one and you think, right, do something, and there's not really a trick in there. He's got good pace, his fitness is unbelievable. But hey, I definitely think he can make a step up, but again, he needs some competition behind him.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like you say, looking along that line, Dallas, we know he's just an absolute fitness machine, and he's a great player. I do think Phillips, he is Premier League class. He's got to show it next year. Because like we say, he's 25. We always talk about Phillips. People talk about him like he's 21 and he's this up-and-coming player. He's not. He's 25, 26. And if he doesn't step up next year and he's a Leeds lad, Leeds fan and whatnot. He's really got to take the bull by the horns, and he's got to be that main man next year for us if we get promoted.
Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of people saying that he should be in the England squad. I mean, let's not get carried away. Like we say, it's the most average championship we've seen in years. Our midfielder getting time on the ball, and even still, Calvin Phillips probably hasn't had the best of seasons. But he'll need to make a step up. He'll need to make a step up next season, Will Phillips. Like you say, I mean, he's 24, turning 25. Let's not hype him up too much. He's not 2021. He's been around the block. He's played more than 100 games for us. There's a reason he's still playing for us. There's a reason no team snapped him up. He'll need to make a step up big time next season.
Listen, we're just going to move off Leeds because I just want to touch on before we finish just the relegation battle. Obviously, Neil Warnock has come into Middlesbrough.
Yeah.
Sad for Woodgate because obviously Leeds played and we like him, and I think he tried to change that philosophy and play, but they weren't getting the results, and they just weren't performing. Neil Warnock's coming in, doing what Neil Warnock does. You think they'll be okay?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. He's got big job on his hands though, because he has got one poor squad there who are down in the dumps at the minute. Shame about Woodgate really, because I really wanted him to do well, didn't you? It's nice though. That they've kept him on board. I think they're going to keep him on board as some sort of coach, ambassador sort of role. Maybe he can learn from Warnock. A bit disappointing really, because I'm a big fan of Woodgate. Absolutely.
Now, obviously, Stoke and Huddersfield are down there. Now, Stoke when they got rid of Nathan Jones, I mean, they were on they were awful. But they couldn't buy a win. They were awful. I think that obviously, if Middlesbrough do pull out, I think Luton and I think Barnsley, I think it's bye. For me, obviously being a Leeds fan, it would be lovely to see Huddersfield go because. Yeah, obviously Birmingham. Who do you think might just get dragged down there in that last last place? Because I think Middlesbrough will just get out of it, mate.
I think Middlesbrough will. I think it'll probably 2 or 3. Barnsley or Luton are down, I think. I just think probably Hull will get dragged into it again.
Yeah,
they've been terrible since they lost Bowen, haven't they? I know you're a huge fan of.
Big fan. I think he's a brilliant player, and I can't believe he might even get relegated to West Ham. He doesn't deserve to be. For me, he's a mid-table player. Anyway, carry on. Back to Championship.
Yeah. I just think Hull will get relegated, mate. It'll be Hull, Barnsley, and Luton. Right. I just think Middlesbrough will just creep out of it under Warnock. Yeah,
just because of that experience, and it doesn't show you that experience. Like he came in, he got the win streak. It was inevitable. You might as well just put your whole mortgage on him.
Remember when
getting that result?
Remember when Harry Redknapp came in at Birmingham, didn't he? I think it was like 3 or 4 games left.
Yeah.
And he kept him up, didn't he?
Yeah.
Same again, innit? You just bring a manager in who's got experience and it keeps him up. Just different mentality, innit? Bit of experience.
I mean, obviously this season, no matter what happens, it'll still be ecstasy if Leeds get up and whatnot. And for the teams that go down, it's a shame that we aren't doing it with fans there. I think it would have been amazing. But I think it looks maybe like Leeds are going to be going up. West Brom, I still think they'll just hold on to it as well. In Leeds, then, when do you think we're going to be promoted if we're going to do it? Give me the next 2-3 game outlook. When you think?
Probably.
How many points?
I think if we get another. I think actually with another 7 points, I think we'll be all right. 2 wins and a draw.
Yeah, I said 6. Yeah, I thought if we get 6 and maybe another couple of draws, a couple of results go our way. But again, we don't want to rely on other results. We want to just get it done. But so that's it. Leeds are going up. We'll get Champions League next year. And the last 16 years has been written off, and it's all been a bad dream. Do you ever sometimes think it's been a bad dream with Leeds? It is crazy, isn't it, that we've been down there that long?
It's mad, mate, innit? I remember when we got relegated, I was in school. I remember at Champions League days, mate, you know, we used to have like IT lessons in South Stand at Leeds, and whilst we were having IT lessons, they were practicing the Champions League music inside the stadium. You just get shivers down your spine, like
goosebumps.
Yeah, that seems like you know, well, obviously years ago, but it seems like a different lifetime. Do you know what I mean? It just seems a long time ago. But it'd be good to.
Well, listen, fingers crossed we're going to do it. Yeah, I think that we're going to do it. We're very close, and we'll be back on the FlatBackFour. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and on YouTube. We've got some great guests there. We do have some great guests coming up as well over the summer and going into the new season. Whenever the new season starts, we think it's going to be a fast turnaround. But for now, we will see you very soon. Thank you very much for watching.
Thank you.